get a little bit warm in our practice today in our dynamic flow, but also with a little bit of introduction to our parasympathetic nervous system. So we obviously have the central nervous system that is sending messages all the way around the body. You know, those electrical messages to move our hands, to gesticulate, to talk, to hear, to listen, to move. So we absolutely need the central nervous system, but we have the autonomic nervous system, which is the sympathetic, our fight or flight response, usually when we're in a stressful situation, or, you know, just in our day-to-day lives, we might be present with our sympathetic nervous system. And then when we come to our mats and when we try to allow our mind and body to relax, that's when the parasympathetic nervous system starts to kick in and work its way through the body to allow that sense of rest and digest for you. So we're going to be really looking at how we respond and how we react to our poses when we come into them, when we enter the pose, when we hold the pose, when we work towards finding that edge within our posture as well. So you can start seated if you prefer for your morning practice, or maybe you like to lie down. But if you are lying down, choose to be in an alert pose, not really in Shavasana, and keeping the eyes open. And if you're seated, by all means take a mudra, which maybe, is Adrianne mudra, the thumb pressing lightly against the forefinger. And just take a few moments as you gently breathe in through the nostrils. And just take a nice sigh out through open lips, out of the mouth, deep exhale. And take a couple more, breathe in through the nose. And just sigh it out through the mouth. Last breath in through the nose. And just breathe out through the mouth. And just return to an equal breath. Nice breath in. Nice breath out. Just start to find yourself coming into a rhythm of your own breath. And that will take you through our practice today as we hold a number of our poses for a number of breaths. And you can use that exhale to gently allow yourself to come out of the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight response, and into your parasympathetic nervous system, into that rest and digest. Allowing the heart rate to slow, the blood pressure to stabilize, and the breath to be relaxing and releasing of any tension held within the mind and body. I just have a short reading from a new book I recently bought. If you like Yin, this is a great book, The Language of Yin by Gabrielle Harris. And this is called the Arrow Sutta. The Buddhists say that when we suffer misfortune, two arrows fly. The first arrow is the actual event, and the second arrow is our reaction to it, our suffering. We all have sharp arrows that pierce our heart. Injury, loss, betrayal, illness. And they all fly at us, announced and with fury. These first arrows are usually unavoidable, and they are called life. How we choose to react to the first arrow can be the cause of further suffering. Maybe we create a story about how things should be. Perhaps we feel sorry for ourselves, perhaps we lash out or ruminate without end on how it all should be. And in the storehouse of our mind, we welcome and dance with negative self-talk, like an ally to take us deeper into the darkness. Ahimsa, or the Sanskrit for against harm, is a gentle reminder for us to be gracious towards our day-to-day struggles. The kindest, most charitable way to care for ourselves is to bring self-awareness to that second arrow by embracing and acknowledging how we feel with humanity and compassion. As you take a few moments just to hear those words come into your thought process about that reaction and response to that first arrow, and adapt it into your practice today of how you react and how you respond to poses, because not every pose is suitable for every body. Everybody can do yoga, but not every body can come into all of the poses. And you are your best guide for this. Only you know your body, so respecting and honouring any medical conditions or injuries that you may have during your practice. Again, ahimsa, against harm. We don't want to harm ourselves doing something we love, also that helps us to make us feel better. Nice and slowly, if you're down on your backs, just bring some movement back into the body and just gently roll over to one side. And we're going to take a child's pose. So you might wish to take the knees wide and bring the toes to touch behind you. And if the sit bones are just resting back on the heels, you can start to lengthen the fingertips away from you. Maybe you're in an active child's pose here with the toes, the ankles and the knees coming together. And then just start gently giving your space from the hips, the belly, away from the thighs. Nice deep inhales, nice deep exhales. And as you just gently start to come into your body, into your practice, and focusing on your reaction and your responses. Nice and slowly breathe in, bring yourself up into tabletop position, realigning the knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders. Find that neutral tabletop firstly, and then just gently dropping the belly, opening the chest, breathing in, coming into cow. Nice deep exhale, curl through the spine, come into cat. Do a few more at your own pace of breath. Again, just regulating the breath that you held at the beginning of practice. Notice how your spine feels for you today. You feel quite mobile, quite flexible, depending on what you did last night, depending on your week. And then nice and gently come back into that tabletop position once more. We're just going to take our bent-legged downward facing dog. So tucking the toes, bringing the hands back should you need to. And just lift the hips, keeping the knees nice and bent. Just dropping the chest down towards the thighs. Reaching the crown of the head down towards the mat, reaching the heels back behind you. And just lift the sit bones here. So then just start to pedal out through the feet. So you can release one heel at a time as you bend into the knee. Just gently lengthening through the back of your legs here. And when you're ready, nice deep exhale as you spread the toes out and release both heels together. Feel that beautiful stretch, almost like a morning inversion. Nice and slowly bend into the knees and walk the feet towards the hands at the front of your mat. Just take the feet wide to the outer edges of your mat. Maybe you might need to use a block here just to rest the fingertips on as you lengthen through the spine. Create that space from the belly and the thighs. Nice deep exhale. Again, just take a forward fold. Nice and relaxed. Try to keep the knees out to the sides rather than letting the knees rock in towards one another. And exhale as you fold. Maybe you wish to take hold of the elbows here and then lift into the sit bones nice and gently as you straighten through the back of the legs. Always trying not to lock into the back of the knees here. Take a few more breaths. Nice and slowly, just rolling up through the spine. When you come up, just heel toe the feet together. Bring them back into mountain pose, into Tadasana. I'm going to start with a warm-up of Shivananda, Sun Salutations. So taking these, again, at your own pace, bringing the hands into the heart center. This is Sunday morning. It's a nice little warm-up for us. Inhale, the arms go to upward salute. Exhale, the hands come to the third eye and you forward fold. Right leg steps back, high or low lunge. You can introduce the arms up towards the sky if you wish. Place the palms, take it back, downward dog on that exhale. Inhale as you lower the knees. Exhale, ground position and release to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips back, downward dog. Right leg raises up and back behind you, three-legged dog, and you just sweep that leg through to meet the hands into that low lunge once more. Then bring that foot forward to meet the right. Exhale into the forward fold. Inhale, arms raise up to the sky, and exhale back into Samastiti. That's your right side. Repeating on the left. Inhale, upward salute. Press the pelvis forward. Exhale, forward fold. Let everything go. Step back, left leg, high or low lunge. Release the hands on the exhale. Send that leg back. Down dog. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale, chest down. Ground position to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, down dog. Left leg raises up and back behind you. Bring it straight through to meet the hands. Take that option of that high or low lunge. Arms or without. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring yourself up to standing. Exhale, hands come back into heart center. Right and left, repeat at your own pace of breath. Inhale on the expansion and the lengthen. Exhale on the release and the folds. moving steadily through the Sun Salutation sequence, being guided by your breath, those responses and reactions to your movement this morning. Maybe you're coming to the last side. Take your time to bring yourself up to standing and return to our starting place of Samastiti. Nice deep breaths here, just holding the pose. So we're going to come into what's known as the Jivamukti Magic 10. So if any of you have practiced the lineage of Jivamukti, you might be familiar with some of these postures. And we're going to hold the postures for 10 breaths. Now, because I can't see you, I don't know when you've completed your 10 breaths. So I'm going to count the breaths. And I'm going to give you that silence within the posture. So just really try and go deep into your breath and really notice, in each posture the breath may change. So try and keep the same length of breath, and it sometimes helps to count the actual breath on the inhale. So our first pose is an upward salute, and you can either bring that back bend into the upward salute, or maybe you just might feel comfortable to bring the hands up towards the sky. Try to draw the shoulders down the back and soften through the rib cage. If you're coming into that upward salute, just press the pelvis forward and lift out of the lower back, holding for 10 breaths here. Once you've completed your 10 breaths, just come out of your upward salute and come back into Samastiti. Our second pose out of the 10 is our forward fold. And again, many options, many modifications that you can take. So you might wish to bend the knees or just rest the elbows down onto the knees with a wider stance with the feet. If you have any heart conditions or blood pressure, taking the head below the heart as it is an inversion might bring a little bit of dizziness. So just finding that place where you can hold a pose, work towards your edge for 10 breaths. Nice deep exhale, take into that forward fold, close the eyes, draw into the breath. Once you've completed those 10 breaths, just release the hands. Heel toe the feet out to the outer edges of your mat. Bend into the knees. We're going to come into a Malasana squat, garland pose for the next 10 breaths. So again, you might wish to sit on a block here for those 10 breaths. Makes the pose a lot less challenging. So closing the eyes, just working with the breath in the pose. Notice your responses and your reactions. The last exhale, just reach the hands down, lift the hips, turn the toes just gently in. And just take a few moments to do what you need to here to release from that squat. And then we're going to sit down onto our mats for our half spinal twist. Again, many variations. So reaching the left leg out in front of you, the right leg can either come onto the inside of that thigh, maybe it comes a little bit further away from the body. You can take it across the leg, engage that underneath leg as by drawing up the dorsiflex, sit nice and tall and ground through that right foot. Or maybe you can bring that foot back around behind you and you can drop the buttock down towards the mat between the heel. I'm going to leave my leg out in front today. Reaching that arm back behind you, coming to Ardha Matsyendrasana, half spinal twist, 10 breaths. Last breath, just release yourself back into the center and take it to the other side. So again, just using the same option as you took, and then just reach that arm back around. You get the belly out of the way of the thigh here, and then come into that other side, closing the eyes. Inhale, think about the spine lengthening. Exhale as you think about deepening into that half spinal twist. 10 breath hold. Nice and gently bring yourself back into center. Just release the legs out and windscreen wiper. The knees out to the side by just lifting up the chest up towards the sky. So maybe you notice that the breath might have been a little bit shorter in those twists. Reason being is that obviously if we have diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing, that belly gets quashed against our thighs. So if you get the belly out of the way of the thigh and you lift up through the spine, then sometimes you find that breath a little bit easier. Okay, next pose can be a little challenging for some into the wrists. So just give ourselves a little bit of wrist love this morning. Just circle through the wrists one way and the other. And just get the hand in there to mobilize into the joints. This pose will be upward facing tabletop. So, and again, many variations, many modifications on this pose. Bringing the hands back behind you, and you might wish to just lift the wrists up a little bit by using some blocks underneath the hands. So fingertips face forward, and try and get the middle finger in line with the outer edge of your mat. You may feel it's more comfortable to slightly turn the hands out at a 45 degree, but if you can, think about opening those hands equal to the side of the mat. Feet are in line with knees, in line with hips. We're going to lift the hips up to the sky, into that upward facing tabletop, and hold for 10 breaths here. The gaze can be along the body up to the sky, or if you feel comfortable in the back of the neck, dropping the head back behind you nice and gently. Breathe into those areas of tightness that you might feel in any of the joints, any of the muscle, also stamina. Last couple of breaths. Give yourself a smile for the wonderful work you do for yourself. Nice, and gently lower the hips down. Gently come off of the wrists. Take some time to feel that release as the weight comes off. And then just gently start to move into the wrist. I find that pose extremely challenging for me into the wrist, but also into the shoulders. So it may not be one for you. It's definitely not one for me, but it definitely is a workable one. And you can always keep the hips down onto the mat, and then just gently pull the fingers back towards the forearms here. I'm going to come into a series of forward folds here. So the first one being is Janu Shirshasana. So lengthening one leg out in front of you, and again taking your option. Either that foot can press against the inner thigh, might feel more comfortable underneath, or maybe you take it down to the calf, depending on that hip opening for you. Create length into the spine. Inhale the arms up, engage that underneath leg. Exhale, reach long over that leg and reach past the toes. Maybe you use a strap here, and nice deep exhale, relax the head as it comes down towards that knee. 10 breath hold. Nice and slowly reach the arms away, lengthen through the spine, bring yourself up and then extend the opposite leg into that wide leg forward bend position, but we're coming straight into the other side for Janu Shirshasana, head to knee pose. Again, just choosing the same option and just make sure that you're really comfortable within the pose before you go into it. Nice deep inhale, arms raise, reach long over that front foot, and again, nice deep exhale as you fold the body down, letting the head and neck relax. And as you come into the other side, just take a moment to notice any differences. You might find it a little bit easier this side or more challenging. So just noticing what comes up for you. Again, it's our reactions, our responses. Our central nervous system is sending messages down to various parts of the body, telling the mind that you might be in discomfort or you might be in pain. So honor those messages. And if you feel comfortable and it's a pleasurable pose for you, just give yourself a smile, relax the facial expression, enjoy the pose. Nice and slowly, reach the arms away, inhale the arms up, and then just bring the legs together as you just give yourself a nice little gentle hug. Again, leave the belly so it's almost away from the thighs, so it gives you that opportunity for deep diaphragmatic and belly breaths. Coming into another forward fold here, which is seated forward bend or Paschimottanasana. Get the fleshy parts away from the buttocks so you have that room to move forward. Again, engaging the legs, drawing those feet up towards the sky. You can always keep them a little bit wider if you like. Dorsiflex. Inhale, the arms raise up towards the sky, and exhale, again, reach long. Imagine the fingertips are going way past the toes. And then at that first point of resistance, bring the hands down to where they feel comfortable. Maybe it's the toes, the shins, the thighs, or the mat. Keep open across the chest here. 10 breath hold. And then nice and gently relax the feet, relax the legs, relax the body. Nice and gently roll up through the spine. As you come up, bring those knees up and then just windscreen wipe them out if that feels good, or give yourself a hug. One more forward bend, slightly different in concept, is our Baddha Konasana, or bound ankle pose, or some call it butterfly, placing the soles of the feet together. They don't have to be drawn too close into towards the body. You can take those a little bit further away. Really feel grounded onto the sit bones, sitting nice and tall, and then just draw the abdomen back towards the lower back. As you relax the head down, the head will take most of the body weight forward. So take those nice 10 breaths as you allow the body to rest and relax here. Parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. Nice 10 breath hold. Deep exhale on those breath out. nice and slowly. Roll up through the spine. Shoulders come in line with the hips. Bring the head up to center. Lift the knees together. And then give yourself that hug over the thighs. So coming to the end, almost, we have a couple of poses left of our 10 magic Jivamukti poses. We're going to come down onto our bellies. So just allow the body to come into that prone position and relax. Almost allow the buttocks to release so that the back of the thighs roll out behind you. And you can just rest the forehead down onto the mat or down onto the hands, maybe on the cheek. Just give yourself a little sway into the lower back, into the hips and pelvis. After a number of forward folds, they're all flexions within the spine. I'm going to come on to our back extension, which is our cobra. So maybe you wish to keep the feet together. This is more challenging when the toes and the heels are connected. Or you might be able to come into that hip width pose. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Really spread the palms as much as you can. Again, middle finger in line with the edges of your mat. Draw the elbows in towards the rib cage. Press up into that cobra. I'm going to take a nice low cobra today. But think about pressing the tops of the feet into the mat and grounding yourself through the hip bones and the pubic bone. Nice 10 breath hold in Bhujangasana. Cobra. Nice and slowly release yourself down as you roll down through the rib cage. Bring those hands back underneath the forehead. And again, just allow the buttocks to relax, the spinal extensors to relax, and the toes just kind of relax inwards here, and the heels just fall out naturally to the sides. Again, you can sway into the hips if that feels nice and releasing. So we're going to come into our final posture, but we're just going to press back through tabletop and come through child's pose. First of all, again, take your choice of child's pose, whether that's active with the knees, toes, and heels connecting, or a wide leg. We're going to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, or downward facing dog. 10 breath hold. So if you again suffer with any heart conditions or low or high blood pressure, just be really careful when we come into inversions, when the head is below the heart. You might wish to take 5 breaths and then come down into child's pose. So please, just respect yourself. Again, it's that kindness and compassion. Ahimsa, no harm or against harm. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips, pressing the chest in towards the thighs. Come into that Adho Mukha Svanasana. 10 breath hold. Once you've completed your 10 breaths, lower the knees. Take a child's pose of your choice. Nice deep exhale. So these Jivamukti Magic 10 can be done, in 10 minutes, in fact. Depends on the length of your breath. So what we're going to do now is actually return back to our Sun Salutations and see if those 10 postures have aided and assisted us in working through our Surya Namaskar. So exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Look forward, walk the feet towards the hands at the front of the mat. Nice deep exhale into that forward fold when you get there. Inhale, bring yourself up to standing. Exhale, come back into Samastiti. We're just going to repeat right and left on each side. That's it. And I'm going to just call the breath. Or you might be just going within your own breath rhythm. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Inhale. And exhale. Just notice what comes up for you here. Think about the sequence, your body, your reactions, your responses, that wonderful parasympathetic nervous system. And we're going to come down to the mat. So if you wish to pop something warm on, maybe some socks, and if you've got any props around you, you can use those as well. So as you come down onto your backs, just allow the body to relax here. Take a few breaths. Feet can come to the outer edges of the mat, and the knees might just gently rock towards one another. And nice and slowly, draw the right knee in, left knee in, and deep exhale as you draw the thighs in towards the belly and the chest. And taking the legs straight up to the sky. You can always have a bend into the knees if you need to here, but keep the heels in line with the hips. So if you are bending into the knees, just drop the knees towards the chest rather than taking the feet away. That will only work into the core, and then the spine may lift off of the mat. We really want to ground the spine. Spread the pelvis. Maybe you wish to introduce the arms, and in which case lift the fingertips up so the shoulders come off of the mat. You're resting into the middle of your spine here, and then nice and slowly imagine those shoulder blades just releasing, letting down towards the mat and spreading out. Close the eyes into dead bug. Relax any tension into the fingers, the wrists, the arms, the toes, the feet, the legs. Deep breath out as you allow the body to just be really supported and grounded into the mat. As we've worked into the ankle joints and the wrist joints quite a bit today, circle, just rotate as much as you need to. Notice those clicks and those cracks. I have quite cracky ankles, always have. And then gently draw those knees back in towards the chest. Nice roll out through the spine as you give yourself a massage. And then gently deciding what you wish to do for your spinal twist. Maybe you wish to extend a leg along the mat and take the right leg across the body. Or maybe you wish to take both knees over and you might be just into this gentle twist here. Maybe you extend that arm out to the side. So slowly bring yourself back into center. Realign through the hips and the pelvis and the spine. And then gently deciding what pose you're taking on the opposite side. Same as the other. Holding for those nice, long, deep in and out breaths. Allow all that tension and stress to just wash away and leave the joints, leave the muscles, leave the tension. Nice and slowly bring yourself back into center. Realign through the spine, the hips once more. Maybe you take that constructive rest with the feet out to the side and the knees together. Maybe you prefer to draw the knees in, but just do what feels good for you right now. Maybe you wish to take a few moments to do one of your own poses at the end of your practice. Or maybe you like to get comfortable and come into your Shavasana. And if we're coming into that Shavasana, that final relaxation, just allowing yourself to lie down on the mat. Allowing the arms to come out to the side of the body with the palms face up. Allowing the feet to go to the ends of the mat and relaxing into the toes and the ankles. Or maybe you prefer to come into your Shavasana with bent knees and the soles of the feet on the floor. Use as many props as you have available. Bolsters can go underneath the knees, blocks or pillows underneath the head. Maybe you've even got an eye pillow. And if you're just finishing off on that pose that you chose to do for your practice today, take a few deep breaths. Allow the mind to settle from any thoughts other than being present right here, right now, in this very moment with you, in your space, on your mat, connecting back to your breathing. Taking a few deeper breaths now to bring your awareness back into your body, back into your room and on your mat. And just bring some movement into the hands, the feet, maybe moving the head from side to side and drawing the knees in towards the chest as you just roll and massage out through the spine. Taking time to roll over to one side as you just return up to a comfortable seat to close our practice together. Bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at the heart center. Closing the eyes and just sitting nice and tall. And just think back to the beginning of our practice when I told you the story of those two arrows, that Buddhist tale, the Arrow Sutta. And, how we respond to that second arrow. Our response, our reaction to circumstance, situation, Really relating that to our yoga practice as to how we react and how we respond when we come into these poses and we hold them for a number of breaths. And you can also take the Arrow Sutta into your daily life and how you react and how you respond to circumstances that come at you in your day. Give yourself a big thanks and gratitude to your body, your mind, and your breath for being present, giving yourself this time. And I thank you all. I wish I could see you. Hopefully we'll be back soon. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead.